Oh, I just spat. Oh, let's do this. This one's a tricky one. I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome back or welcome to this series where I'll be doing 7 videos for the 7 days of Mental Health Awareness Week. If you didn't already know, the Mental Health Foundation, I'll link their websites down below, have a week dedicated to raising awareness of mental health, with the aim to inspire action and promote the message of good mental health for all. Today's video, I think, is very important, if not the most important video of this series. It's titled Safety First to Avoid the Worst. Not just because it rhymes, but because I wanted to chat a bit about safety plans. What they are, why we need one, and how we'd go about making one. So firstly, what is a safety plan? It's a step-by-step guide, effectively, to help and support someone who might be feeling at risk to themselves. A safety plan is written up when someone is experiencing intense suicidal thoughts. The primary focus is to draw on that person's strengths, remind them that life is worth living and this will pass. So why would someone struggling with their mental health or even a mental illness have a safety plan? Well, that's because sometimes when we're feeling really low, it can seem like there's no other way out. Emotions, as I'm sure we all know, can be incredibly overwhelming. They can take over and destroy our rational thoughts. So we can't think straight, we can't calm down, and for some people who are really struggling, it can be difficult to ignore suicidal thoughts. So by having this safety plan, it means that if someone is feeling really low, or as though life isn't worth living, then there are strategies in place to help keep them safe. It's not easy for me to do this, but I know how important it is. So I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna show you my safety plan. Ta-da! This was set up for me with the help of a CPN, which is a community psychiatric nurse, a couple of years ago. I think of this as my mental health first aid kit because it guides me through different stages to help me through a crisis. It brings me back in control when I don't feel in control. I normally have this stuck on the inside of my wardrobe, so it's not constantly visible, but it's easily accessible if and when I need it. I also have a copy of it on my phone if I need it when I'm out. Whether you have one, want one, or know someone who would benefit, I'm going to talk you through my safety plan because suicide prevention is crucial. I'm also going to leave some really helpful websites down below, as well as some helpline numbers should you feel you need to use those resources. Now, obviously, there's no right or wrong answer here. No one gets a prize for the best safety plan, and everyone's is going to be different. I'm going to talk you through mine so you can take on board what you want and change it to suit you. I've split up mine into 5 easy stages that I know I'll easily be able to follow even when I'm really struggling. Step 1 is soothe, which I spoke about in my first video of this series. This is all about doing something nice for yourself. I've put, Rachel, do something nice for yourself. Make yourself feel better and make yourself comfortable. I've said, make a cup of tea, eat something sweet, put comfy clothes on, listen to calm music and have a warm bubble bath. Now this for you might be going for a walk, cooking a delicious meal, or watching your favourite film. It's basically something that soothes you, something that relaxes you, something that's not too intense of a distraction, but still a distraction nevertheless. Step 2 is contact. Make contact with one or more members of your friends and family to let them know how you're feeling and maybe what's caused it. For some of you, to communicate your feelings might be step 1, but I find it really, really difficult. So I know that I have to soothe myself in order to be in a place to let people know how I'm feeling, if that makes sense. I also have, but I can't show you, a list of 5 people and all of their different contact numbers. This means that if I'm in a place where I'm using somebody else's phone, my phone is out of battery or whatever, I know their phone numbers. They're not in any particular order, but it does say here, I know it's hard, Rachel, but you need to text them, call them, or arrange to meet them. The more instantaneous, the better. That means the quicker the better. Step number 3 is skills, and I've put use one, some or all of the skills you've already learnt. I'm referring to the skills that I've learnt in the different therapies that I've gone through. I've said it's important to try and at least do one mindful skill, and then I've put try observing the water boil in the kettle, then participate in making a cup of tea. And I've also written a list of skills that I could try if I feel like I can't remember any of them. So I've put write a pros and cons list, Splash cold water on your face, pace your breathing, do some intense exercise, decipher between fact and opinion, and try to take a step back to observe the bigger picture. It's all well and good saying, oh, try something that your therapist said, but at the time, when you really can't think clearly, it's hard to remember all of those things, which is exactly why I've included a list of the different skills that I could go about trying. Step 4 is really important, and that's called avoid solitude. I've put having self-soothed, confided in someone you trust, and begun to calm down using skills, try to avoid solitude by arranging to meet up with someone, doing an activity that requires you to be around people, or being in a public space. So this doesn't mean you have to meet up with someone and talk about what's going on. You could just think, okay, I need to do a food shop, go to the library and read a book, sit down on a bench in a public park and enjoy the outside space. You don't have to force yourself to be with someone, it's just about being around people. Because even though this is a difficult step to take, it puts you in a much safer position. And finally, step 5, be proactive. I must say though, because it's really important, I have said do this step when you're ready. There's no rush for this one, whereas I do think it's very important to self-soothe straight away, make contact, and try and use some mindful skills as soon as you can. But step 5 is once you're calm, collected, and in a wise, rational mind, take a piece of paper and write down a small list of steps to take going further. So you could write a small to-do list and maybe run some errands, clean your house. You could make plans in your diary for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Or for example, a proactive step could be emailing your employer and saying, I can't come into work today, or give yourself some tiny goals to achieve. Make them achievable though. This step is basically to give yourself plans for the near future, for the next couple of hours, not for the next couple of months. It's really important that this whole safety plan is about being in the present. And I don't know if you can see, but there's also a box at the bottom that I've put, if this is too difficult, don't panic. And I have a list of the contact numbers of my psychologist, of the Samaritans, and of the emergency services. And a reminder to myself that if I feel I can't do this on my own, then I should go straight to the emergency room. I'm sure you've noticed as I've been reading this that I've written the whole thing in second person pronoun. So when I read it to myself, which is normally always out loud, it's like someone is personally guiding me through it. I'm constantly saying Rachel this, Rachel that. I just find it really comforting. There has also been times where other people have had to read that for me, so it means that they can just read it word for word. It's not clinical or indirect or using any big words that I wouldn't use. So I hope you found this helpful, whether it applies to you or not. And if it does apply to you, then I suggest writing it with someone else, be them a close friend or family member or a professional. Because the more people you get actively involved in your support network, the easier it is. And if you already have a safety plan, I'd recommend emailing it to people that you know and trust, so that if you find it too hard to go through, they can go through it for you, over the phone or in person. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it's not the lightest of topics, however, it is a very, very important topic. Keep smiling and staying positive, all the while treating yourself like you treat your best friend, with kindness. I'm sending lots of love to you all. Thank you so much for your continued support. You're all amazing. God bless. Mwah.